The regular meeting of the Waco Independent School Board is hereby called to order. All items which may be discussed or voted upon this evening have been posted as required by state law. I extend a warm welcome to those present and to our television viewers. The board's purpose is to set goals, listen to reports of the superintendent, approve budget, contracts, and personal appointments, and make policy for the district. We're not here to make management decisions or solve problems of individuals. Management is the responsibility of the superintendent and her staff. I ask that you turn your cell phones to silent alert if you have not already done so. We appreciate the time you have taken to join us and for your interest in the Waco Independent School District. As part of the board procedures, the Waco SD board follows 10 guiding commitments that help keep our focus on students and community. To begin tonight's meeting, Vice President Davis and Trustee Ochoa will be reading guiding commitments. Vice President Davis, will you start us off?
Number 9, inclusive engagement. The board will encourage diverse perspectives, foster community trust, and ensure all stakeholders feel heard.
Number 7, commitment to continuous improvement. The board will engage in ongoing training, self evaluation, and reflection to strengthen governance practices.
Thank you. Do we have anybody for public comment? No. Just no moment of silence. Go ahead. The Waco ISD Board of Trustees will now go into closed session at 6:04, 6:02. It's time to pursue the Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code Chapter 551, Sections .071, .072, and .074. We do not anticipate taking action when we return. At 6:53, the board will reconvene in open session. We're moving on to a moment of silence. Please bow your heads and take a moment with me. Thank you. Next, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Leading our Pledge of Allegiance this evening are Kendrick Elementary students Annabella Barco and Abigail Vargas.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would ask the board to please come down for recognitions. Thank you. Thank you, Annabella and Abigail. Thank you guys for waiting. We appreciate your patience. We're grateful to have y'all with us here today. And so I just want to share a little bit about our pledge leaders while we thank them for being here. Annabella Barco is a second grade student who loves math, drawing, and coloring. For fun, she likes to run, play softball, and dance. Her teacher said she's a great classroom leader and speaker and loves to spread kindness. Annabella said she wants to be a professional athlete when she grows up. Abigail Vargas is a second grade student as well who loves math, writing, painting with watercolors, and drawing. For fun, she loves to ride bikes and go skating. Her teacher said she is a classroom leader who is very smart and helpful. She also has a competitive spirit. When Abigail grows up, she would like to be a scientist. We are grateful for these students and their families. Thank you to Mariana Delgado, Modesto Barco, Gabriela Garcia, and Raul Vargas for being here to support your awesome daughters. And thank you to the Kendrick Elementary Principal, Ms. Isabel Lozano, for having your students with us tonight. Do you want a picture as a family? Okay, a picture real quick. Okay. Thank y'all. Okay, next up we have our Region 12 Secondary Counselor of the Year. We are thrilled to congratulate Jennifer Young as the Region 12 Secondary Counselor of the Year. A true cornerstone of Waco High School, Ms. Young is recognized for her campus-wide influence and vibrant spirit. According to Sarah Miller, our Waco ISD Coordinator of Counseling at SEL, Ms. Young's success stems from her collaborative heart. She serves as a bright light by seamlessly integrating her work into the school's larger mission, proving that the greatest impact is made when working together for shared goals. Congratulations, Ms. Young. It's not every day that I get the honor of recognizing my own communications team for the work that they've done. He says 1 second. I'm super excited to recognize Michael Anderson and Quinta Robinson as Star Award recipients for their work in the 2024-25 school year. Okay, so bear with me. They won so many. I have this whole list that I would love to share with y'all. So they won a Crystal Star Award for staff and student recognition, which Crystal is the highest we can get, so that's exciting. We won a gold for the Waco ISD brand refresh, a gold for news with school board members, the unsung heroes of education, gold for a published print ad, Working Wonders in Waco, silver, we are Waco ISD flyer, silver for the Waco ISD retirement celebration program, silver for photography and academic, other subjects, and in sports, and then silver Kendrick pop-up banner and a Waco High pop-up banner. So I'm honored to be able to serve and work alongside this amazing comms team. Congratulations, guys. Okay, so we are excited to welcome our community partner for February. Waco ISD extends its heartfelt gratitude to our February community partner, the Dream Couture, for their incredible commitment to our students. We are deeply thankful to Roxana Segovia and Claudia Frago for their dedication to ensuring that financial barriers never stand in the way of core high school milestone prom. By providing high school girls in need with everything from custom prom dresses to hairstyling and makeup, corsages, and even a celebratory dinner, Dream Couture ensures every girl can experience prom with dignity and joy. Thank you to both of you for your work and dedication so our students can make memories that will last a lifetime. Thank y'all. Thanks for waiting. And that's all for our recognitions today. Thanks.
We'll be moving on to the superintendent's report.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. Each February, we celebrate the stories, achievements, and voices of African Americans, past and present, and provide meaningful learning experiences that highlight their political, economic, social, and cultural impact. Over this month, our campus has brought the commitment to life through over 12 Black History Month public events being hosted across the entire district. On Tuesday night alone, Crestview Elementary hosted a journey of roots, growth, and legacy. West Avenue Elementary presented a Black History Month concert, and J.H. Hines Elementary held a special campus program. Last week, Tennyson Middle School commemorated the 100th anniversary of National Black History Celebrations, hosting their BET Awards, Black Excellent Texans. I was honored to be selected for the Coretta Scott King Award. Thank you, Tennyson students and staff. I also want to extend my gratitude to G.W. Carver Middle School students for the recognition through the If I Can Dream Black History Month program, which celebrates African Americans who dare to dream big and become the first. I am truly honored by these recognitions and to serve as the first African American woman superintendent of Waco ISD. I embrace the opportunity to set a strong standard and build a lasting legacy. These events, along with many others, showcase student learning and talent while engaging families and our entire community. Thank you to our teachers, campus leaders, and staff for creating experiences that honor history and align with our district's mission and goals. We are proud of the meaningful ways our schools continue to celebrate Black History Month. Superintendent Teacher Advisory Committee. I'm proud to share that we have officially launched the Superintendent's Teacher Advisory Committee. Similar to our high school and our middle school student advisory committees that have been meeting over the past year, this initiative reflects our commitment to elevating voice, not just listening, but learning and leading together. It is truly an honor to sit in a room with some of our district's strongest classroom teachers. These Teachers of the Year represent the very best of our campuses, and bringing them together on a regular basis allows us to stay closely connected to the realities of our classrooms while keeping our shared mission at the center of our work. The purpose of this committee is to strengthen two-way communication and ensure teacher voice meaningfully informs district decisions. Each campus is represented by its 2023-24 and its 2024-25 Teacher of the Year, who serve staggered two-year terms to provide both continuity and fresh perspectives. We held our first meeting in February, and the discussion was thoughtful, candid, and solutions-driven. Teachers shared valuable insight aligned to the 4 priorities in our district strategic plan, offering both celebration and constructive feedback. Meeting regularly with this group will help us remain responsive, aligned, and focused on what matters most, supporting teachers and teaching and learning at the highest level. I look forward to continuing this important work and sharing key themes and insights with you as we move forward through this process. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move on to item 6, information item reports. Trustee Bledsoe, do you have any questions?
No.
Trustee Abnusi, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Trustee Davis, do you have any questions?
No.
Trustee Patton, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Trustee Ochoa, do you have any questions?
No.
Thank you. We'll now move on to item 7, the consent agenda. Mr. Bledsoe, is there anything you'd like pulled?
Item 7D.
Thank you. Mr. Abnusi, is there anything you'd like pulled?
No, sir.
Mr. Davis, is there anything you'd like pulled?
No.
Mr. Patton, is there anything you'd like pulled?
No.
Mr. Ochoa, is there anything you'd like pulled?
No.
At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented without 7D.
I move.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Patton and Mr. Bledsoe. Mr. Bledsoe, is there any discussion?
No.
Mr. Ebnes, is there any discussion?
No, sir.
Mr. Davis, is there any discussion?
No.
Mr. Patton, is there any discussion?
No.
Mr. Ochoa, is there any discussion?
No.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes. No. Now we'll go back to 7D. Who's gonna?
The reason I asked, so 7D is the re-roof of South Waco. And the reason I asked to have it pulled, if you look at the bid tab, we're actually going with the second lowest bidder, who I believe is about $141,000 higher than the low bidder. And I know Gloria and I talked about this a little bit today on the phone. I just have some questions about the rubric that we're using. The way, I don't think we're giving enough weight to price, and this is the world I live in my business. And so I understand rubrics, and I understand that price, you don't always want price to be the only deciding factor, because you do want to make sure that you're getting qualified bidders. I do believe the company that actually had the lowest bid is a qualified bidder and could do the job. And so I just want to make sure, and honestly, Gloria, to like honor you guys. I mean, this we're going to pay for this out of excess bond funds. And so to honor you guys who saved us, I think almost $7 million on the bond, I want to make sure that money, we stretch that money as far as we can. And I have to believe that there is $140,000 out there somewhere in Waco ISD that we could spend it on. And so I just want to make sure that we're being great stewards of that money. And that was just my question. So.
Okay, well, good evening, Mr. President, Dr. Spicer, and the members of the board. I'm glad Sherry's standing up here with me because she's over all of our purchasing, and we had a very well-run process through this last effort. And if you read the the memo, you know we got 17 bids. That's huge. That's huge. I've never seen 17 bids come in for anything. So that was really good and very successful. And when we decided to go out for this, the delivery method that is our default delivery method for Waco ISD is called competitive sealed proposal. Competitive sealed proposal lets us evaluate price and other non-price criteria, like their performance for Waco ISD, their experience with similar clients, their safety record, et cetera. So we have a lot of things that we also consider. And the reason this is important is because this project, and all of our school projects, but this project in particular is a very short time frame. We have a little less than 2 months to completely tear the roof off, raise the rooftop units a little bit, and put the roof back on. It's very intense work. And so we're looking for a trusted firm that has worked with Waco ISD. I mean, that's what we got here, but that is literally how the evaluation process we used shook out, where Johnson Roofing was ranked #1. It happens that Johnson Roofing has a lot of experience with Waco ISD, having finished Tennyson and Carver. So while I certainly understand the concern for low bid and for being respectful of that, and I appreciate all the bids we got, I'm old enough to remember when we did not have the alternative delivery methods, and you got what you got, and it was really hard to prove somebody was not the best value. You had low bid, and that's all you had. So having the ability to evaluate based on other criteria is very helpful to a district to establish quality and even to establish a reputation within a community. They know that we're going to look for the best quality we can afford to have. And that's what this ranking shows. So what we're asking you to do tonight is to approve the ranking, and then we will negotiate with the #1 ranked firm, and see what we can do to maybe adjust the price if they have some cost-saving ideas that we could do that. And there's some other scope we may need them to pick up as well. So we're going to work on adjusting that if we can with our number one ranked. If the number one ranked is not, doesn't come back with what we feel is fair, then we can go to we can tell them, thank you very much. We're going to go to the number two ranked proposer now. So really, Waco ISD is sitting in a really good position. We have a number one ranked firm that is very well known here in the community and has done work for us here in Waco ISD and been very responsive on our projects. So that's how we got here. As far as the criteria and the weighting of price, 40% is actually a pretty high weighting for price. I have been places where it's 25% on price. And realizing that the initial cost of what you pay may not be representative of a final cost. And you just have to, sometimes your first cost that somebody gives you may not be what you end up at the end. So anyway, just 40% is not unusually low. And if it's really much more than that, then it's really hard for anything to make a difference besides price.
But, so can I ask you another question? So I think I asked you this today. How would we ever expand our bidders network?
Well, that's a great question. So the folks that weren't selected will maybe want to talk to us. And so we talk to them. And we show them the evaluation, and we say, this is why, this is what happened, and this is what you can do. Waco ISD has lots of small roofing things that we need done. You can start doing these projects for us that are, a canopy replacement or fixing a roof on a portable building or whatever. Get your foot in the door, then we know you, and then you're going to get full points, and that has done work with Waco ISD.
But in your opinion, was our low bidder not qualified to do the job?
Oh, no, they're qualified. They just are not ranked number one.
I understand. So like what I asked you today, if I'm a steward of taxpayer dollars and resources, and you're telling me that our low bidder, like we believe, qualified to do the job, and we're going to go spend $140,000 more of your money because they've worked for us in the past? Is that what we're saying?
No, we're saying that they are the highest ranked proposer based on all of our criteria, which is not just money. We are looking at quality, we're looking at reliability, we're looking at this is a tight job, it's 2 months, we need to know they've got the resources.
Were the bidders aware of the schedule when they bid it?
Yes.
And did they all acknowledge the schedule when they bid it?
They did.
Okay, so we can't say that not everybody knew what the schedule was.
Correct. They knew.
I would disagree with you that 40% is pretty common. I also don't understand why we can't just why can't we just approve bidders before the process? Here, now you're a qualified.
It's not actually allowed by Texas procurement law. We cannot pre-qualify.
Yes, you can.
No, we actually can't pre-qualify.
These criteria that we used in this bid, the criteria were published with the bid, so all the bidders knew how they were going to be evaluated. And these are criteria that are listed in the local government code. And so we actually are told that we need to take into consideration other aspects other than price, like the safety record.
Yep.
Their experience, their reputation, and so.
But the low bidders' references were higher than the second low bidder on this rubric.
I'm sorry, sir?
The reference score on the rubric, the low bidders' score on references was higher than the second low bidder. They were at 5.
But it's the combination.
I understand. I think it's a crummy rubric.
I guess I have a question. So, because we started off this by saying you guys did a fantastic job and saved us $7 million out of the bond. Is this the same process that we've went through for everything else? I remember us having a controversy one time on another project where there was a local contractor that had bidded and everyone thought that they had the low bid, so how dare you go with someone else? And we went through the process and there were a lot of things legally that bound us. depending on which model we use to put the bids out there to the public. Is that what's going on right now? Is that the same thing, or is what my question is what we're doing with this bid any different than what we've been doing with the rest of the bids as far as the bond project?
It is consistent in that we're following the procurement law that we're supposed to follow. In the previous example, the bid was unresponsive because it did not get us moved into the building in time, so that could not be considered. We told them we needed in by whatever, July 15th. They said, we'll get you in September 15th. That's why we didn't go with, we couldn't evaluate that.
Yeah.
We couldn't do that. So that's a little different. This is just the criteria that, was published and approved, and so.
But I'm saying the rubric, is the rubric the same rubric
same
that
rubric,
we've
yes.
used?
Yes.
So we have done the same process of evaluating who we're gonna give a bid to.
Yes.
So I guess I definitely understand the concerns about being fiscally responsible, but cheaper doesn't always mean better. So is it that we're saying that, yes, we had a cheaper offer, but that wasn't, the quality of the work didn't meet the standard that we were looking for? Is that how we ended up with a different contractor that wasn't the lowest bidder?
Well, we evaluate based on everything they submit to us. So that is how we end up with the information in the scorecard, if you will. If, they gave us good information and we can get as much information possible out of their proposal, then it shows up in their evaluation. And that is, we go over this with them in the pre-proposal meeting. It's published and it's talked about, and everybody knows what we're going to be evaluating them on. So.
Ms. Barrera, I have a question. I trust Bledsoe and Davis. They obviously know so much more about this than I do. But listening to what you and Ms. Smith had said, so people who, a company that has consistently done business with us, even though these other bidders are local, at least the lowest bidder is a local company as well, people who we have selected in the past, is that an extra trump card to their bid?
They get a little more, they get more points if they're a well-regarded vendor with Waco ISD, if they've done work with us.
So this other company that hasn't done work but came in significantly under, but is a local company that has a good standing with the community and with the business community, they're they're already starting a bid with the card stacked against them because they weren't selected previously for another job with Waco ISD? Am I understanding that right? Because that doesn't seem like, help me somebody.
But I would think either way, though, where we are today, we would pretty much have to start this process over. We couldn't get the results of ranking and say, well, we don't like number one. We would have rather had number two. We can't just pick them now because we didn't like how the process worked. We would have to start it over, change the rubric, right? And that would delay us getting this roof fixed. So I think we need to consider that as well. We're talking about the same rubric, the same criteria that has saved us $7 million in the bond. So, and I think that our community doesn't want sub-quality work. I think if we throw anything up, we're gonna hear about it. So I think, I do think we have to have some trust there. And I think maybe if you can speak to, if we decided to kind of scrap this first round, what would it take for us to change the rubric and then start this process over?
Well,
If
I
I-
don't
I'm
think
sorry.
anyone's suggesting that we scrap this. I think if I can speak on what Taylor said, I think it's more of a question of the rubric itself.
And I don't think that we're also saying that the low bidder is sub-quality. I think at least from listening to, now I'm wanting to know if Gloria Barrera Construction has been working in Waco ISD, putting on roofs, and Sherry Smith Construction, who is well-respected in the community, wants to bid, and we're gonna go, no, we've got a monopoly basically with Gloria Barrera because she's done roofs for us before, so we're gonna continue to give that company our business without making it somewhat of an even playing field. That's what, to me, this sounds not fair.
So again, we're talking about making a change to the rubric. So my question is, if we had to make a change to the rubric, we will start this process over, correct? If we're saying that this process we don't think is fair, right? So we would change the rubric. What would the timeline look like if we had to change the rubric and start over?
It'd be a 2-month delay in the process.
A 2-month delay in the process.
So, question back to Trustee Davis's point, and thanks for mentioning that. So, what my question here is, again, I cannot think complex like my friends here, but it's the second bidder, or we were talking about the one that is, if I'm getting it right, the 140,000 less that came as, I don't know, is that a second bidder? Is that correct? The second lowest? Is that correct? Everything. Are they, based on the rubric, are they satisfying the criteria that we need for them to be able to work with Waco ISD?
All but one category, which is the worked with Waco SD.
Correct. Correct. So is that something we can say, yeah, you passed the litmus test of our rubric?
It's experience with Waco ISD. It's not anything else except it's based on your experience working with Waco ISD.
And other school districts and their safety record. Now, 5 points for experience with the school district is negligible points. I'm not saying that it's not important, but 5 points for experience with the district and 40 points for price. So the district is trying their best to go with the low bidders, assuming that the low bidder meets the needs of the district.
Sherry, with all due respect, you're taking 60% of things that are not price. You're actually weighting things that are not price more than price. I would disagree.
Okay, this is how the state of Texas tells us that we have to bid, and I'm not trying to make light of your concern. I understand your concern because we all have a job to protect all of our vendors in this area, and we all want to give everybody equal chance. What I'm trying to say is that some projects, past experience with the district is more important to us because of things like difficulty of the project, tight turnaround. If we go with a vendor who we don't know how they work, their references weren't as favorable as the vendor that we've done business in the past. I'm not saying they had bad references, I'm just saying not as favorable as the one that we're used to. The district is putting a lot of trust into an unknown.
Is this with any consultant? So is this specific to building roofs or building buildings, or if like Mo Casey or some other consultant we use, do they go through the same process with the same rubric? Is it weighed the same across the board, or is this specific for construction?
Experience with the school district is a universal evaluation
Gotcha.
criteria amongst all different types of bidding documents.
And I'll just
Gotcha.
add that we do, so you put an RFP out, right? And so I'm trying to make this up. If we had a consultant come to talk to our principals, and we just needed them to come talk, I don't know. We will say, hey, here it is, this is what we're asking, this is what we want, and we go through the same process. So we do that for everything, not just on the construction side of the house as well.
I do definitely, I don't want to go over your point, because I see for sure what you're saying. We have to make sure we're being responsible with taxpayer dollars, but I do think that low bid doesn't always mean best person. And I do want us to make sure if we do make changes to the rubric, we don't make it easy for the least qualified of the bidders to win every time automatically because they gave us a dirt cheap number.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And I just want to say one more thing. I don't want to lose the point of what a great job you've done. I mean, you saved us $7 million. But to me, 140,000 is 140,000. And you've got roughly a 4-point difference on number 1 rank and number 2 rank. And number 1 was $140,000 higher. And you've got some ranked towards the bottom as zeros on price. So it makes me think if there's a 4-point difference in the category of with $140,000 price difference, like what would the zeros be? I mean, it'd have to be astronomically high, I would guess.
They were.
At this time, I'd entertain a motion to approve consent 7D.
So move.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Ochoa. Mr. Bledsoe, is there any discussion?
No.
Mr. Abnusi, is there any discussion?
No, sir.
Mr. Davis, is there any discussion?
No.
Mr. Patton, is there any discussion?
No.
Mr. Ochoa, is there any discussion?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pass-
No.
Passes with, one no.
Two noes.
Two no's.
Okay, two noes.
Two no. I'm no. I'm no.
Three?
Yes.
Three,
So it's-
so it didn't pass. It's where it lies.
It did not pass, so it's,
Yeah.
Can we have a
3-3.
roll call vote, please?
Yeah, please, thank
No.
No.
you. Yes.
yes.
No.
Yes.
It's just a split vote. Just table.
Just go to the next
Move
one.
on. We'll move on to item 8, review and discuss priority 3-3.2 foster strong partnerships presented by Jill Anderson.
Hello again. Good evening, President Vidania, members of the board, and Dr. Spicer. Okay, I'm excited to be able to discuss with you priority 3.2. So we're going to be talking about our priority to foster strong partnerships with business, industry, organizations, and higher ed institutions. Okay. So as we look at our progress this year, our partnerships within the Waco community are strong, and we are committed to a culture of continuous improvement to make them even better. This growth is a direct reflection of our staff's hard work, and employees across multiple departments are intentionally building the bridges that provide our students with more opportunities and our staff with more resources. We're proud of where we are, but we're really excited about where our team is taking us with this priority. So I just want to mention before I move forward that I'm reporting on behalf of many different departments. So this is just across the district. And I have the privilege of being able to share the work that we're doing to strengthen our community partners. Okay, so we'll go into 3.2.1, and it is to increase industry internships and externships. So real quick, because this is something I had to learn, you guys may already know this, but I just wanted to talk about internships are specifically for our students to be able to work with companies, and then externships are for our staff to be able to work with companies to learn about the industries and be able to share that information with students. So such a cool program. Our baseline, whenever we started the strategic plan, was we were at 22 internships and 22 externships. So moving towards the end of this year, which would probably extend past summer because most of our experience in these are during the summer, our goal is to reach 32 internships and 30 externships. So far, we're still kind of early because these are focused in the summer. The externships for staff have not opened yet. They will be offered by the Waco Chamber of Commerce and the Workforce Commission, and we typically get those applications in May. So I'll be happy to report back next year and let you know how those went. The process for welding internships for our students has started, and from last year we had 9, and we already have up to 14 so far, and we're not finished with that, so that's exciting to see. We will send students the applications for other internship opportunities around the end of March. We are also this year offering unpaid internships with the city of Waco, and because this is unpaid, the incentive that we're offering is to give the students a Letterman jacket, so it's exciting. I also want to mention that Career and Technical Education Office applied for a TEA internship grant in January, and so we're awaiting response from that, but we did earn it last year, so confident we'll get that. Okay, so 3.2.2, we want to strengthen industry and higher ed partnerships for Guama, Guaca, and P-TECH to benefit those students and programs. So our progress measure is to track the industry and higher education partner data, engagement data. So we're in the process of developing a digital version of that right now. Currently, we record industry and higher ed partners through the advisory board sign-in sheets at the moment. And then I was also advised that those advisory boards are open to potential partners as well. I want to share a couple successes on this. So just this week, actually yesterday, Baylor Scott and White hosted a career exploration event for Guaca. So they showcased the diverse departments that students could choose when planning their healthcare careers. So it included areas like nursing, laboratory, pharmacy, imaging, and physical and occupational therapy. Plus, there was an opportunity to be able to explore what different positions that our students could go into after they graduate with their certifications. And then Guama has an upcoming event on March 31st. It's an open house, and Congressman Pete Sessions will be in attendance. So current and potential industry partners are invited and will get the opportunity to take guided tours of the labs and meet the instructors and see how we're preparing students for their high demand careers in welding and construction. Okay. Moving to 3.2.3. We are implementing tiered partnership and sponsorship programs for events and the Adopt a School program. And so what we're working towards is creating a structured framework that categorizes community involvement based on the level of commitment, resources, and time that a partner provides. So instead of kind of a one-size-fits-all approach, it allows our partners to plug into the district at a level that suits their capacity. So it ensures that every contribution, whether large or small, has a clear place and a measurable impact. So these programs would be focused on ways to engage throughout the year, providing our financial partners with the opportunity to give at a level that sustains interactions with our district. So some of these events that we're looking to sponsor would be the new teacher launch, convocation, state of the district, teacher of the year, the retiree celebration, and then family fest and fun run. So I just want to mention that with my experience in development, I know from the donor side that they are looking for ways to engage with Waco ISD as well. And so our activities and events are going to be meaningful for them. And by planning what we can offer from our side, we're really maximizing the investment from our partners. So this, in talking about this work, I just want to take a moment to thank Stephanie Hines too. You guys know her, she's amazing. She's our Adopt a School program lead and liaison for the Education Foundation. So she's done really great work building these strong relationships with our community partners. And right now she's obviously not here because she's preparing for the celebrity cook-off tomorrow that I hope you guys will be at. But due to her work, we have a lot of baseline data that we get to go off of when we're preparing for these sponsorship programs. So I wanted to just highlight some of that. From 23-24, we had 129 partners and we raised $589,000. Moving into the next year, we raised our partners to 216 and raised similar amount, $559,000. And so both of those already include grants from the Education Foundation. What's exciting about this year is we're only about halfway through. We have 97 partners and we've raised $288,000, and that does not include the Education Foundation grants yet. So we're moving along there. It's exciting. So just to kind of wrap up, I think that we're doing this really well. And it's all about continuous improvement and just continuing to make it better. So we just want to make sure that we have more strategic engagement that benefits both the district and our partners. Okay, and that is all that I have. Do you guys have any questions?
I have a question. Great work. I think for me, I would love to hear more about what we're doing to partner with the African American and Hispanic chambers. That's the thing I didn't hear, especially looking at the demographics of our students. I would think that that's a great opportunity here locally. I know they would be open to the partnership, so I hope we take advantage of both of those entities as well.
Thank you. That's a really good point. Thanks for bringing that up. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson.
Thank you. Y'all made it easy. Thank you. I appreciate that.
We're moving on to item 9, review and discuss priority 1-1.1, implementing systems to support campus performance, presented by Dr. Dina Kornblum.
Good evening, President Vidania, Superintendent Spicer, and trustee members. So I'm here tonight to present our middle of the year data review, connecting to priority 1.1. If we remember that, this is our priority that focuses on students and student success and raising the accountability in this area. To bring us back, remembering what the assessments that we're using to measure growth in this area, we have our iReady diagnostic assessment, our taught curriculum assessments, which are our assessments that come at the end of units or modules, so to speak. And then benchmarks. So our benchmarks, this is the first year in a while that we've moved to a full star release benchmark. And so our students just wrapped that up last week, and some even finishing up now for makeups. So the first piece of data we're going to look at is our iReady diagnostic data. The expected result that you see there at the bottom of that slide is from our district improvement plan. This is a lead measure that supports our strategic goal that's in our strategic plan. And so by middle of the year, we expect that 30% of our students who are on grade level or above will achieve their typical growth. And so that means that the growth that's expected. By middle of year, 20% of students who are 1 or more years below grade level will achieve their stretch growth. And what we know about our iReady data is that for students to really close achievement gaps, students who are behind, they need to be making that stretch growth at least 2 years in a row to close those gaps. So as we look at where we are now, based on our middle of the year scores, when we look at typical growth, we're at 33% for reading and 20% for math. So in reading, we have actually met that goal. In math, we're sitting at 13% of our students meeting their stretch growth, 33% of our students meeting their stretch growth in reading, and 9% making their stretch growth in math right now for this time of year. So now let's look at just scores individually by grade level. So let me reacquaint you with these graphs and give you some explanation of what you're looking at. Then I'll give you some time to digest them on your own. So the navy blue colored bars are the bars representing where that grade level was at the end of the year. So when we look at kindergarten at 372, those kiddos are now first graders. So if you follow the 372 at kindergarten, navy bar, over to the light blue bar for first grade at 383, that's where those kindergartners started the year this year. So if you remember at the beginning of the year, we talked a little bit about how in many of our grade levels, our students were starting the year ahead of where they finished the year. And so the more turquoise colored bar up there is where they are now at middle of year. So let's look at first grade. The first graders last year ended the year at 417 for their scale score. They started the year at 428 and they're at 444 now. So if you just keep tracking, second grade ended the year last year at 457. That cohort of students at the beginning of the year started at 463 for their scale score, and then right now they're at 477. So at the bottom of each of those graphs, you have the color charts. Those charts represent grade bands. That's kind of how you can think about that, according to scale scores. The ovals there on each graph represent placement changes. So if I go back to look at this graph, or this page rather, slide, that shows typical and stretch growth. For kids to make a placement change, so that means they're gaining a year's growth, they have to make typical and stretch. So when we look over here, we're seeing kids who are moving grade bands. So in kindergarten, 40% of our students have moved one grade band or more. So that would mean they would move from yellow to green or
So
down.
when you're saying grade bands, we're talking red, yellow, or
Yes,
light green,
yes.
dark green.
But it's about a year's growth.
Okay.
And when you see light green to the darker green, the light green color there, if you look down at third grade, that would be early third, but then the darker green is as you progress through. So that's about a half year. So color to color, it's a year, and then the nuances between, it's about a half a year. But they're moving a band in between. So I'll give you just a moment to look at that.
do we know what's making the difference? Like I noticed fourth grade only went up 1 point compared to, I guess, the other grades. So do we know what made, why they didn't grow as much as the other grade levels?
So there's so many variables that can come into all of that. From experience of the teacher to, all different kinds of things. I was sitting on the campus today working with the principal, and we were talking about her team of teachers at that grade level and the long-term subs there, right? Now, that's not every campus, of course, but there's so many different variables that we would look campus by campus, and we do have those, and then look and see, okay, what's happening at this grade level on this team that reflects in the data, positively or not, right? To see if you can pinpoint, okay, what's the good instruction you want to replicate? Or is there something else that we need to intervene with and make better? So, but as far as curriculum, they're all following the same curriculum. I've been in some classrooms the last couple of days, and the big celebration there is every classroom we went into, they were using the curriculum. That's a change, right? That's a new discussion. And so they were using the curriculum with fidelity. They were within pacing of where they needed to be, so they weren't like weeks behind. And so that's a celebration. So, looking at it, I think all of that's new for everybody. So they're still trying to acclimate to changes. But I think that is one constant that we can now, a tangible constant that we can put our hands on. This is the same. This is just our middle school data. And so I won't talk you through all of this. I'll just give you a moment to kind of look at it a little bit because the concept is the same. The navy blue represents where they left the year, light blue where they began the year, turquoise where they are now. And then, of course, the grade placements are in the ovals.
Dina, how much regression do you expect from the end of the year to like the summer slide, basically? Like is there some kind of benchmark for that?
I don't have a number for you.
Yeah.
You usually do see some summer slide, and that's why we do have summer school in place for our struggling students and to try to mitigate that summer slide. So I don't have a scale score or a number that I can just spout off while I stand here. iReady might actually have some data. Actually, they do have some, but I don't have that data in my head. We could get it for you. So we watched a presentation from them that compared, they gave this over the summer actually, or at the end of the summer. They compared our scores and the summer slide as to the national averages of summer slide, and our students at that time did not show a significant increase in summer slide as national averages did. So we did not slide as much.
Decrease. Okay, yeah.
We had a pretty positive effect there. I can see, I don't have that presentation, but our representative, I'm sure she can lay her hands on it if you would like to see that. And math. So at the beginning of the year, if we remember, we talked a lot about, it was a different view for math, right? We talked about how our students in reading, we saw that a lot of them were starting the year higher than where they finished the year. And we know that because HMH, though switching to HMH on the reading side and just using HMH is new, we know that there was that look at our math curriculum. And so that was one of the pushes for needing a new resource. And so if you see up here is represented, so if our kindergartners ended at 358, they started the year at 359, barely over. And now they're at 376, so we're starting to see that go up a bit. But at first grade, 390 is where they ended, and they started the year at 386, so we definitely saw that slide. But here we are now, and we're up, a bit to 398. And so we're seeing that those rises begin to creep in. I think the numbers at the top, like if you look at fourth grade, you have a 44% in making placement change. In fourth and fifth grade, 42% in third grade. And again, we're seeing things implemented. It's new, so people are working through the pacing and trying to make it theirs, And so the first year is, it's unlike HMH, it's brand new. And so that's something that teachers are working toward and we're trying to support. But I do think that what we're seeing now, though obviously you would want to see stronger gains, considering we were seeing a backward slide, this is a more positive progression.
What are we doing besides summer school to help with summer slide? And are we also like considering behavior? Because I know in about fifth grade, that's when we start feeling ourselves. And I'm also seeing that, you know, our grades are getting worse as we get up into middle
Yeah.
school. So I'm wondering, like, how is that all factoring into how you guys are making decisions?
Yeah, so we talk within the leadership team, and attendance, right? Attendance, behavior, and of course instruction all go hand in hand. And so as a leadership team, we look at those things, and talking about our data and how each piece impacts the other. I know student services working heavily on the behavior side and keeping kids in class, but at the same time, you know, you still have to focus on how to approach the behavior and how to make it so other kids can learn too. So they're working hard with our teachers on strategies. Today, when we were walking over at J.H. Hines, Christy Freeman, who is with Student Services and who focuses, she walked with us. And so we were going in classrooms, looking at the routines, looking at the process, looking at the procedures that were helping make things in the class possible. So what are the good things that are here? Are there things that need to be tweaked? And so we talked with Mrs. Latchison about those things. So working as a team to address those things. And to your other question about what else do we do in the summer? So for us, we have summer school, of course, you know, and then Miss Parnell does Camp Read a lot, which is focusing on reading, which is kind of like a jump start before school starts. During the school year, which isn't summer slide, but during school year, of course, you know, we have interventions. Every tier 1 block, the last part of the block should be allocated for flexible grouping so that they're meeting with the kids. And this isn't even intervention. This is like working with the kids on what they're struggling with then. And so trying to work on things along the way, if you will. And so currently, those are the things that we have in place, um, you know, to work on student improvement all the way around.
I was just thinking, like, going back to where we talked about our partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
During the summer, we have Mentoring Alliance that's in some of our
Yes, and we still do that, yes.
campuses. You have the STEAM Center. You have, you know, City of Waco
Mhm.
Park and Recs.
Mhm.
Are we utilizing those partners to say, hey, these students that might be in your summer camp or your summer programming, how can we coordinate to get them?
That's a great point. And so we did have Mentoring Alliance last summer, which I was a little less involved with that partnership, and even the YMCA. So we have the Y at some of our campuses. And so that is something that we did not do last summer, but is certainly something you could look at. Like if they had, you know, folks who could work on, like if we gave them, here are the areas, some like key areas that we could work on with our students, you know, or have them even read each day. Y'all, like just having kids read is huge. And not just take the whole summer off, right? I mean, just reading, because one of the greatest indicators of success on reading is just time spent reading. So you were talking about the trombone while we were having and practicing. Reading's the same. I mean, you don't get better unless you practice, right? And so you've got to continue that. And so that now in the past we have talked about partnerships with our library, and so Mr. Allen was a part of that, where we were working on getting those students to be able to have electronic library cards and with their Waco ISD accounts, so that they wouldn't have to go that extra step of not being able to check out like electronic books without going to the library to get a card. And so that's something that we have done.
Yeah, I just hope even with like Waco Housing Authority, I just think we have so many partners who are interfacing with our students over the summer, who have their attention, who have them, you know, just as long as we do throughout the school year. And I think if we could be proactive, saying this is what we need from you as our partners, as the district, this is how we can better advance our students, I think we should be jumping on it, especially
that's a great
when we
point.
see this summer slide.
One of the things I don't even remember we did try, and it doesn't mean you can't try it again, it just wasn't highly successful for us. Do you remember when we went out and we went to like Estella Maxey and different places like that, and we went to, because they have community centers at those places, and we hired tutors to go in and be there to work with students, and we just didn't have a huge turnout. We actually had turnout from kids from other districts who came and tried to go to our tutoring. But that doesn't mean that it's not worth
I don't think
trying.
we should reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
Because if you're at Estella Maxey, we're not even in the community centers most of the time. We're either at the Transformation Waco office or the
Yeah.
Mentor Waco office. So I don't think we should reinvent the wheel and try to start a new camp. I think we go to existing,
Who already have it.
already have it. They have the kids' attention. They already have the buy-in. They already have the relationships. They may just need the curriculum or the areas to focus on. And I think that keeps less work on our backs anyway.
Yeah.
Just utilize those partnerships.
Well, I appreciate that feedback and that idea, and so that's definitely something we can look into, so we'll keep you updated.
Dr. Kornblum, quick question here. So back to Ms. Parnell's initiative about the reading that we have this summer. There was a program, I believe you called it. There was
Can't read a lot.
Camp Read a Lot. Thank you. And is there something comparable with that we have in mathematics for numeracy? Possibly we can look into that.
We just focused on reading last.
And would that be something we can kind of start maybe wondering about how to utilize that?
I think we can.
You are, yeah.
She is wondering about it already.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's look at TCA. So at the beginning of the year, we had no TCA data to present to you because we hadn't had any at the time of the presentation. And so since then, obviously we have. Want to speak to you a little bit about how we scored those. For our STAR scores, STAR has TEA, the cut points, right? So this cut score means approaches, this is meets, this is masters. We use those cut scores, but plus 5%. So we went 5% higher than what the state cut scores are. So so I'll just go to first grade. And so the navy bar represents all of the TCAs that have happened at first grade, averaged together. And so they're at 61% masters, or I'm sorry, approaches, 54% meets, and 46% masters. So that's what those numbers represent. But again, 5% higher than what the state expects. I'll give you a moment to look at those.
Can you repeat that again? I'm sorry.
Yes. So when we set the scoring criteria for our taught curriculum assessments, we based it off of the TEA cut scores for STAR. And so if it was third grade, we use below that, we would use the third grade. Fourth grade, we use cuts for fourth grade. Fifth grade, we use the cuts for fifth grade. Every grade level has their own cuts for
When
TEA.
you say cuts, what do you mean? Pass, not pass?
So TEA sets a score that says this is what approaches is.
Okay.
They set a mark for what meets is and a mark for what masters is. We use those, but we added 5% to each of those to make it a bit higher.
And are those TEA scores here?
No, these are plus 5 here. Our benchmark scores are TEA. So when we get to the benchmark scores here in a second, the benchmark scores are without the plus 5.
Okay.
We scored them both ways, actually.
I'm not telling you how to do it. For me, it would be easier to see it as, first grade, this is where we are versus where the state would like us to be at this
Yeah, and keep in mind, there are no cut scores at kinder, first, second. It's only for STAR tested grades. Right. We just put this criterion. But the reason we did that is to set our bar higher than what the state has it. And so when you get to the benchmark, what you'll see on the benchmark scores that we just took, it's compared exactly to what the state is.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Actually, Ms. Steele ran it for the campuses to see if it was that plus 5, they could see their data that way, but then also what it was, just purely the TEA mark. Middle school and high school TCAs. And I think what, here, what you want to see is, or what we're looking for is to see that meets level increase. Because meets is where our goals are set. If you look in our strategic plan, our goals are based off of the meets area. And so that's the area that we're really trying to grow. But as far as STAR goes, kids have to grow, they cannot go backwards, basically.
You
may go back?
Go back, yeah, please. So English 1, nobody mastered it. No students.
Say that again.
English 1, I'm sorry. English 1, no students mastered it.
They had,
is 0.
for TCAs, they don't, right now, well, actually, it was point something.
Okay.
And
So it is students.
Yeah.
Okay, I just.
Now, well,
Wasn't statistically enough of a number to.
Correct. It wasn't a whole number. Yeah. And, yeah, and English 1 and English 2 they're areas where we've typically struggled that we're working on. But those have been tough areas. Okay, so looking at math, same thing, measured exactly the same way. So those same cut scores based on the STAR assessments, but with plus 5%. Now, Mr. Davis, if I went back and we took off the plus 5%, you would probably see some, but. Mhm. We good? Right. And secondary math. Remember on algebra, that includes all of our students taking algebra, both at middle school and high school.
Dr. Kornblum, and then looking at the 8th grade math scores, that is with the Algebra 1 students pulled out, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and so 7th and 8th grade, remember, some of those students are in what we would call advanced math. So if they scored in the top 40th percentile on the STAR test, they have the opportunity to go into advanced, like compacted math. So that means in 6th grade, they would take a combination of 6th and 7th together and take the 7th grade test. And the 7th graders would take the rest of 7th, 8th compacted together, take that 8th, but then they take the, but then there's algebra. So the
So
7th.
that 8th grade is pulled, the algebra kiddos are pulled out from.
Yeah, I misspoke. I said they take the 6th grade test.
But the 8th grade scores we're looking at don't have the kiddos that are doing Algebra 1 as 8th graders, right?
Right, they're in the algebra.
Good deal.
My point was, and I knew when I said it I was wrong, but the 6th and 7th together, our 7th grade scores usually struggle because you have the students who performed higher on STAR taking the compacted 6th and 7th math. They take the 6th test. Then the 7th advanced are taking 7th and 8th, and then they're in algebra. So the students who are taking that 7th have all of the compacted math students pulled out, and then they go into algebra. And so that 7th grade year is a tough year for the STAR assessment. Okay, benchmark. So the benchmark was taken in our STAR tested grades. These were measured on the exact TEA measures. And so no plus 5 here. And like I said, Ms. Steele did run it for the campuses to see what they would have been sitting at, but what you're looking at here is without the plus 5 added to it. So in looking, our middle of the year, if we looked at our strategic plan, which is what this presentation is about, our strategic plan is by the end of the year that 36% of our students will be at meets performance, aggregately, from 3rd grade all the way up to English 2. So if we put them all together, that we would have a 36% at the end of the year in the meets category. So there's, if you're looking there,
But it's not combined meets and masters. It's just meets. So like on 4th grade, you can't say because we have 6% in masters that technically because if you master,
those numbers are stacked. So
Okay.
the 60% is approaches are better, meets are better, masters. So what that means is that 6% is within the 25, and then the 25 and the 6 are within the 60.
Okay.
Because that's how STAR measures it. It says approaches are better, meets are better, masters. And so you can see the comparison down at the bottom. So when we're looking at 3rd grade, we're at 48% approaches right now. Last year, we were at 61%. Middle of the year, 19 right now. And then STAR at the end of the year, we were at 31. But look at 4th grade. Right now, for approaches, we're at 60. And so those 4th graders right now are those 3rd graders that you're looking over there at STAR in that left-hand corner. So we had 61% approaches on STAR last year. And so right now, benchmark time, those 4th graders are at 60% approaches. They were at 31% meets. Right now, we're at 25% meets, 10% masters, 6%. So if you look diagonally, does that make sense? And then if you look at the 5th grade, right now we're at 52% approaches. If you look at the bottom middle star box, they were at 63% at the end of the year last year. 29% right now on meets, they were at 31%, so not too far off right now at middle of the year with about 6 weeks still to go. And this assessment, this RLA assessment was taken now, gosh, it's been 3 weeks ago since it, I think about 3 weeks since it was taken. And it was supposed to have been taken about 2 weeks before that, but we got delayed because of the ice. So if you look at those correlations, there are some I think, positive things to focus on there in terms of middle of the year versus where we ended the year. Now, am I saying that we're where we want to be? No, but there's still some upward if you're looking at middle of the year versus where we ended.
I got a question. So when we look at the 4th grade 2025 stars, 63% approaches. So that means 63% of the 4th graders aren't testing at grade level.
That's right. That's right. Because all the meets and the masters are wrapped into that too. So yes, that means that's right. Because meets is really what we consider grade level. And approaches is just what it says.
Sorry, can I chime in? Just a quick, no?
If you want this to go.
Sorry, well, I just want to, it's not 63% are not meeting grade level because those meets and masters kids are embedded in that. So I just wanted to, it's not.
I did.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Let's look at middle school now. So I think it's really, I mean, as you're kind of, you can see the numbers. I think for me, the way that is most significant for me to look at it is kind of thinking of those kids as cohorts. So if I look at the 6th grade star up to my 7th grade benchmark, and then my 7th grade star up to my 8th grade benchmark, because you can really see how those students are moving or not, right? So our 7th graders looking at that right now, I mean, what sticks out to me on this one is at the end of the year for RLA, we had 58% approaches, and right now we're at 56, 31% meets, and at 22. So that approaches, we're close in approaches, but our meets is at 22. So that meets, like, where are those kids, right? So we've got that, as our campuses are working on this, and I'll talk about this at the end, that's what they're doing with all of this. They're saying, who are those kids that were at 31 that were sitting here last year, and now here we are at middle of the year? Who are those kids, and how do we target them specifically? And so they're working down to student level to say exactly which kids are in what group and where do they need to go. And so when we're looking at STAR data and growth, they cannot go backwards. And so they're looking at trying to target exactly which students are making up which groups, where they were, and where they need to go next. And so our campuses are doing that work, and Mrs. Steele has helped with that and worked with them on that. And so they're working hard to identify those students and put in plans to address those. And there's our English 1 and English 2. Okay, you don't have the math up here yet because at the time this was made, math is just now finishing up being scored, and then science and social studies, Ms. Steele's working on as we speak. So the data wasn't available to present to you for this. So our next is dual credit. The goal is actually based on dual credit and AP, but there's no update to AP right now because they don't take their AP test until the end of the year. So we have no data to give you. One of the measures on our dual credit is students enrolling and completing dual credit. So last year for 25-26 in the fall, we had 279 students enroll in dual credit courses with 575 courses finished. I'm sorry, that was wrong. We had 279 students enroll in dual credit with 575 courses enrolled in. Right now, at the end of the fall semester, that 279 went up to 314. So students could have added, like when we, at the beginning of the semester, you have add drop, and so we could have had other students enroll, but we ended up at the end of the semester with 314 students who actually took dual credit classes. So of that, there were 575 courses that they were taking. At the end of the semester, we finished with 500 courses completed, which means they passed them. So if you look down below, last year, we had 261 students who enrolled in dual credit courses with 462 courses complete at the end of the fall semester. So enrollment's up a bit where that's concerned. So we don't want them just to enroll. That's why we're focused on the course completion. So final thoughts, what are we working on? So a high-level positive, consistent student growth on iReady, both reading and math, and with many grade levels showing 30 to 50% of students improving a placement. But obviously there's areas to focus on. So looking at our first area of focus is really focusing on middle of year goals, or they remain below the target of where we want to be. So we're talking about that 30 and 20% for stretch and typical. So particularly in math, because we saw that we had made the typical growth in reading. So in math, where students are not yet meeting their stretch growth expectations, so continuing to focus on that through targeted instruction in class, tier 1, just continuing to work with our teachers on implementing that curriculum, and then of course through interventions, and campuses are doing tutoring. Focus area 2, so across TCAs and benchmarks, there's a continued need to increase performance on meets and masters, and so we saw that when we looked at the data and kind of talked about some of those areas. So next step, continuing to strengthen high-quality Tier 1 instruction. That's always a focus, y'all, always. We're always, working on improving that first teach while accelerating targeted supports through data-driven small groups. So that data-driven small group is key. So when I was talking our principals are looking at exactly which students are where and where they need to go. So it's not just a big, everything but the kitchen sink review. It's very targeted as they're narrowing down on what kids need what, or what students need what. Strategic reteaching in the class and aligned interventions to assure students meet expected growth. And so they're working hard. So any questions as I wrap this up?
Just one quick question. You mentioned the 36% being the middle of the year benchmark goal for meets. Is that correct? So currently, where are we standing on that? Do we have an average of all the grades, percentage-wise, close, far, near to that 36%?
Yeah, so that for the
meets,
for the benchmark or from TCAs? Which
for the
one are you looking at?
benchmark. Is that what
We do have it. I didn't put,
Oh, okay.
we didn't put the district in here, so I can drop it in our communications matrix for you. Off the top of my head, I can't.
Thank
We
you.
do have it.
That's good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep.
And we can do a calculation too. What I'm saying, if you have it already, that's
And we
easy.
have it if you want to see, we have a sheet that has
Thank you.
campus and the district all on one sheet, if you would like for us to
I
attach that.
appreciate it. Thank you.
I have a question. We anticipated there being some sort of dip with the implementation of the new math curriculum. It being the middle of the year, have we identified what challenges teachers are facing using that new curriculum, and how have we
Yeah, I mean,
addressed it?
one of the biggest challenges that I'm seeing is, and that I'm hearing of, is pacing. So if the math lesson is, and I've seen it, being on certain campuses at certain times, certainly, I'm not in the classrooms as much as my coordinators are out there, but we meet on Fridays and we talk about these same things. So pacing is a big thing. So every piece of that, Grapevines and Carnegie, secondary and elementary, there's certain parts of the lesson that are meant for certain things. So one of the first parts of the lessons, if it's in that day's lessons, fluency. And fluency is really just practice. It's supposed to happen. It's supposed to be quick. You're supposed to move on and move to the next thing, which is concept development. But on fluency, sometimes what we've seen is teachers trying to teach through fluency like it's a lesson in and of itself. So fluency might be set up for 10 minutes, and I've been in a classroom like on a visit before where the whole time I was in there, they just did fluency. And so if that's the thing, then we're not going to get through the rest of it right in a timely manner. So really understanding the pacing of a lesson, and it's the same for reading, honestly, pacing ourselves through the HMH lesson, like staying on those targets has been a learning curve. And so sticking to pacing, because what happens when we're off on pacing, we don't get to the last part of the lesson where we're able to pull the small group. So like in math, they have about a 30-minute time slot that can be used for small group, for extra practice, for different, things like that. And that's where that targeted reteach and those different things would be happening. But if we teach through that 30 minutes, then we don't have that 30 minutes left. So it's back going to where, like when I taught and they would call a mini lesson, and we would get told, okay, don't turn your mini lesson into like a maxi lesson. And so, turn something that's supposed to be 15 minutes into 35 minutes. And so sometimes, that has been a learning curve. And those lessons are packed and there's a lot in them.
Dr. Cornbloom, sorry. Are you? No, go ahead. So is there also, do we have teacher feedback about what some of the challenges they're dealing with? Is that what we are thinking is that only based on the observation of the admin, or are teachers also voicing their concerns about certain parts of the
So
equation? We're hearing it or listening to
the math curriculum has to catch up to itself. So let me explain that. So when I'm teaching a concept, they may be using a certain strategy or a certain model to teach it with, right? So this year, it's the first time for everybody. So if I'm a fifth grader, I haven't had the luxury of seeing those models now all the way through. So it's new to me, it's new to the fourth graders, it's new to the third graders, second, and all the kids. So not only are the teachers learning some of these, strategies, models. So think of concrete, abstract, pictorial, like representations and models. There's a process within the math called read, write, think. So working through that process, that's new. As our students move through, they carry those strategies from year to year. And so when our third graders get to fourth graders and those become fourth graders next year, and those teachers are kicking off teaching where they would have left off in third grade, using those same strategies and building upon them, our third graders who are fourth graders are not going to be familiar with them. And so you won't be teaching from the ground up. So this year, it's been learning the curriculum, learning new strategies for the teachers and students. And so for HMH, it's not really new reading strategies on the reading side. It's just working through that lesson in a sequential way, which is different than how they were teaching before.
So teachers do have a voice. Like, is there a way you're capturing their opinions, their
So
thoughts
there
about?
too. So in PLCs, we talk about it. And try to work through those things. And there's a place in the curriculum documents where they can leave feedback as well. And so they could leave it there, but then our coordinators are out in classrooms and working with the ISs. So there's always a through loop there of where that comes back. And then, like I said, we meet on Fridays, coordinators, and they bring information back and we talk about, their campuses who need more support based on data that we're seeing, what we're hearing, and we make adjustments within what our team is doing to try to intervene where we might see people struggling more, as much as we can. There's one math coordinator and one RLA coordinator, so yeah. Thank you.
I have something, real quick.
Yes.
Just because Trustee Ochoa hit on it, when we approved the math curriculum, one of the big things where we understood that it was going to be a learning curve, but we didn't want that to be an excuse to why we weren't seeing
That's
gains.
right.
So I just wanted to make sure we're still there.
Oh,
Because
no.
I think we all are expecting to see gains, even in spite of, and I won't prolong, but I would love for, if I need a one-on-one meeting or whatever, for us to explain why our students won't be able to perform irregardless of the teacher that they may get. You just said, like, if they were in fourth grade and then they go to fifth grade and the fifth grade teacher wasn't teaching the same, I would expect if you know 2 + 2, you know it, no matter what teacher or, and I might not understand it as in depth as you guys, so I would love to, but I just want our students to be able to be competitive no matter where they go. And I don't want the teacher you happen to get or
That's why you
the
go to a
shortage,
curriculum.
the
Right.
shortage of the teacher that you may happen to be assigned to affect your quality of education.
Right. And I think when you have a teacher who, whatever it is. I mean, things change over the years and new methods come in, and not math is math. You're right. 2 plus 2 is always 4. But sometimes as we're helping give kids, especially in math, like a deeper conceptual understanding of math, like what this means, sometimes you might use a different type of representation or a different model to help them really grasp, like, this is what's happening when I do that. So versus just cut to, I mean, 2 plus 2 is kind of I can't even build for in my mind, like, so you might use a strip diagram for that now. And this is like way in the weeds, but you might have 2 boxes, 2, 2, so 2 parts equals a whole. So what's the whole? 4. Well, if I have 4 in one part, what's missing? That's telling me that I'm going to subtract 4 minus 2 to get the 2. That's a different way of thinking versus the 4 on top minus 2 gives you 2.
Knowing the facts and being able to
Yeah,
put application to
yeah, and it's
having
not that
those
kids
facts
can't still do that kind of math. It's just asking teachers to sometimes approach it in a different way to help give students a really deep understanding and a deep understanding of number sense. In the end, as this keeps growing, our students are going to be stronger for it.
Yeah,
And
I
so-
just hope that because we know the mobility of our students,
yeah.
that we're not handicapping them in a way.
No, I think it's the opposite, quite honestly, because
And that's
there's-
fine. I would love. I won't keep us going. I know you're ready
Yeah.
to.
No, you're
but I
good.
would love to learn more about this so I can understand more.
We would love to show you. So actually what I'd love to do is take you to a class so you could see it, because I think that's the best explanation. I mean, you don't need to sit and listen to me. You need to go see it.
You know,
I
I
would
love
love
to
to
do
take
that. So
Let's go.
let me know.
Let's
And,
go.
and one last thing on a positive note, to say that I have the pleasure of seeing teachers. I go to classes, I see them. I definitely see a change in mathematics, just talking about mathematics. I'm very happy, but at the same time, I also want us to remember we got to show grace to our teachers. This is a year, everything is new. I know that we are talking about accountability, but seeing teachers, the true heroes of this community, doing their very best, and it's so hard. So I just want us to also take a moment to recognize the stresses that they go through, the sleepless nights that they go through, and for us to take a moment to just realize that nobody can perform under stress. And I hope our accountability is not clouding our having fun part of mathematics. And I hope that teachers could hear that and just try to relax a little bit and do what they're doing right now, which is awesome.
Y'all,
I'm so proud of them. So just
I've seen
have to
some
say
good
that.
things. I was in some classrooms yesterday. I was in a reading classroom.
Likewise, yes, ma'am.
I told Dr. Spicer I got teary-eyed.
We
because-
support our teachers. We just want to
I know.
win as
Oh,
a
for
district.
sure. Because we gotta do what's best for kids.
I just wanted to be clear that my comments were not throwing a shot at. I know you guys are working hard. My point is, I just want to make sure our students are academically ready to perform wherever they may end up. That was my only point. I appreciate the work that y'all are doing every day.
Well, before I leave, because I was just happy yesterday, and so we were at Waco High School doing walks, and we were in an English classroom, and because you see the scores up there, and it's kind of like, but this on level, classroom, and they were having deep discussions. Like the people who were with me, they're like, do you have tears in your eyes? It's like, but we had a corner of boys talking about reading at a deep level. And then another little boy in the back told me he loved his teacher. He was like, she's a good teacher. I love her. And I love my teacher is what he said. And that's high school, y'all. You don't usually get that from high school, right? And so it just reminded me of why we do this and where we need to be. And sometimes this gets, this can get daunting. But there are some good things happening, and our teachers are working hard, and principals as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kornblum. We're moving on to item 10, review, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding the third-party partnership agreement, elementary school under board policy presented by Dr. Spicer.
Thank you, Mr. President, trustees. January 2026, the Waco ISD Board of Trustees approved TEA's recommended updates to Board Policy ELA, providing the process for Waco ISD to follow when identifying potential partnering education organizations. This type of partnership allows a school district to collaborate with an external partner to support the operation of a campus while maintaining district oversight and accountability. The intent of this partnership is to strengthen student outcomes, expand educational opportunities, and provide additional resources aligned with our district goals. A call for quality schools was developed and an application evaluation process followed. Administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve Third Future Schools as the applicant and authorize the superintendent, myself, to begin negotiating a charter performance contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Spicer. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Bledsoe. Mr. Bledsoe, is there any discussion?
I just want to thank Ms. Atnett and Ms. Whiting, our South Waco and Dean Highland principals. I think you guys are awesome. And I know that everybody up here, and I really think everybody in this room wants what's best for this school district at the end of the day. And sometimes we got to make hard decisions that impact a lot of people and a lot of kiddos. And we don't do that lightly. And ultimately, we're going to make a hard decision tonight in hopes of what we think is in the best interest of this school district long term. And so I just want to continue to thank everybody across our school district, but especially at those two campuses. Thank you for all that you do and continue to do and will continue to do to invest in all of the lives of our kiddos. So thank you.
Mr. Abnusi, is there any discussion?
Likewise, thank you to all the servants of our community. And I like to look ahead and look forward to the future of how do we not have problems or play this game of whack-a-mole, because I sometimes know we feel like we try to fix the system, there's something else comes up. Now, a couple of things I wanted to ask here. There was so I know there was a video released. We have to public on Monday, I believe, Dr. King knows. And that kind of gives us, it was a very hopeful video. At the same time, also there are points made about that we have supported our struggling campuses through allocating resources. And the question that I have here for us moving forward, do we have, as far as when we say resources being given to our campuses, I want to know what type of resources have we given them, as far as also the principal, did they principals had some sort of a request or in shaping those resources that were given to them? And so I would like to kind of hear more about some details about that, to see if that's something to do. Is there something we have a record of it, or how's it done? And then the second one a question I have is that how much is going to cost? Do we know the cost of this project right now, or something that haven't been decided
I'll
yet?
start with that question first. No, we do not. After you guys, if you choose to go into the partnership, we will negotiate that. We'll come back to you and talk about how that is funded and how that works. The second thing you asked about was what resources have we provided. We provide resources to all of our principals and our leadership teams and our teachers. And we do that, and we touch base with them when we have our, I'll say, touch point meetings. We ask them what they need, how we can support them, and we partner them. So you'll see people from the Office of School Leadership, you'll see people from our curriculum and our teaching and learning department, and they go and they support them in whatever means that they need. So that's how our process works.
So I'm hoping our principals are happy about the support that they receive. Is that a fair thing to say?
They let us know if they are, and they let us know if they're not.
Thank you.
Mr. Davis, is there any discussion?
Yes, I just want to thank you guys for all your hard work, and know that this was not an easy decision for, I think, anyone on the board. We're always thinking about our kiddos and our staff members. Your future means is just as much to us as I think our kiddos. Maybe our kiddos a little bit more, but we care about y'all a lot too. But I just want to thank you guys for your work, and we'll continue to support in whatever way we can. Definitely don't take this as a sign that we didn't support or we didn't think you were doing a great job. I think the circumstances of where we are as a district kind of forced our hand on this decision, to make this decision, but we just want you guys to know that we love you and we appreciate the work that you did, and we see the work that you did as well.
Mr. Patton, is there any discussion?
Yes, sir. this is a hard decision. And not only are we making a decision for just for these two campuses, but we're making decisions for their families and for uh, the teachers and the staff that have given their blood, sweat, and tears. Um, I feel confident that I can speak for the board saying that this is not what we wanted. This is not what we wanted for those families, for those students, and moving toward a decision through 1882. It is our hope that the additional support uh, that will come should this vote occur will make a dramatic impact for the best for those families, best for those kiddos, will that the teachers and staff will find validation to their hard work. Um, my heart is um, it's heavy, and I know that faculty and staff at those schools have busted their rear ends. I want to make sure. I want to make sure I'm not cussing on camera. Um, just thank you. Thank you for caring. Thank you for your hard work. And I really, really hope that this extra support and this different direction for these two campuses makes great gains for everyone involved. I truly mean that. Thanks.
Mr. Ochoa, is there any discussion?
No, I just want to say thank you to Dr. Spicer. Um, I wasn't around when Transformation Waco was born, but I know at no time did we ever not consider those teachers and admin and students Waco ISD students and teachers. So I just want to say thank you for making it very clear to us and explaining things clearly to us. And I know it was not an easy decision on your part, but I do know, and we did notice how much time and thought and emotion you put into bringing this decision to us. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Spicer. Is there a motion?
Yeah, we already.
I think we,
Oh,
Call the
yeah.
All in favor?
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you. We're moving on to item 11 and discuss middle school academic programs. Before I turn it over to our board members, I invite Dr. Spicer to provide an overview.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Allen. And one more. All right. As you know, we have our strategic plan that we created last year to outline the next 5 years for us. And this is our attempt at making sure we maintain local accountability, but that we're also transparent with our stakeholders, with our board of trustees, with our families, and everybody who has any connection to Waco ISD. As you know, we have 4 priorities, but tonight I'm going to specifically talk about this one, specifically 1.1 and 1.2. The first one being develop and implement plans and systems and processes to ensure that we improve our campus ratings and we also accelerate student growth. And then secondly, we also want to make sure that we are in compliance and meeting House Bill 3, which talks about improving our literacy and also improving our math and also improving our CCMR, which is our college, career, and military readiness. As you know, I always share the story, but I started in October 2024, and during that time, I had the opportunity to go to every campus twice. I met with focus groups for our students, for our staff, and for our families. And we had some I'll say, reoccurring themes come forward, academics, behavior, perception, but also I had feedback on just programming. How do we make sure that we have all the right programs at all the right schools for all of our students to have access and opportunity? As you also know, we had our attendance boundary, and I'll talk about that as well. When we had that part of the, I'll say, journey, a lot of questions came up like, how do we only have our GT services or our Atlas program at one campus? Why can we not have it at multiple campuses? How do we provide access? What if parents can't go or don't have transportation or want to stay at their home campuses because that's where their family and their lineage is, I'll say, kind of went through. And so those things came up as well. We also last month had a current meeting for third grade and up families to talk about the GT services that we offer and how to make sure that we revamp our Atlas program. That was also feedback not just from our parents, but from the students, from their mouths to my ears, about how can we improve the program and have access and opportunities for our students. And so this was our attempt to make sure we got every stakeholder voice in this journey. So the outcomes we have as we prepare for the coming years, one, we are going to give, I'll say, Atlas at Tennyson like a reboot, a refresh, a new look, to make sure that our students are receiving the rigor and the relevance that they need in all their classes. And so we are working with Mr. Knox and the campus as well to make sure that that program is strong and strengthened. But we're also going to make sure that we expand our programming across our other remaining middle school campuses. Currently, we have our pre-advanced campus courses at those campuses right now, but what they don't have is the research class. And so we are going to add that research component to the other campuses, those middle schools, and make sure our students have access. One of the feedbacks that I got from some of our families was, yes, thanks for Atlas, we appreciate it, but I want to stay at my home campus. My brother went here, my sister went here, I want to stay at my home campus. And then recently I got a text message sent to me, one of our kiddos, a valedictorian who just left, gonna be at Vanderbilt, shared that, thank you for the opportunity that you gave us, but could you also make sure that more students have access and opportunity? And when I got that message, it was just reaffirming for the work that we're doing, because there is a need, there's a want, and there's desire, and this is gonna help us get there to make sure that we meet student needs. Again, thank you, trustees, for asking for this item, and I wanted to share the latest update. All right, thank you.
Start with Mr. Bledsoe.
No, I'm an Atlas parent. I have one there and one more coming next year. I'm excited to see the changes that we make to continue to improve what's already been an outstanding program. I mean, I think, I forgot who I said it to, but I mean, like, truthfully, we have kids in Atlas who are world changers. They go to really awesome universities and they go on to do really, really awesome things. So I'm excited that we're going to continue to revamp that. I'm very excited that we're going to offer the research class at CCMS and Carver and continue to expand those opportunities. And I'm really excited to continue the discussion of how we offer really robust GT programs at all of our campuses. So,
Mr. Abnusi.
I have not ditto you what you said, trustee. So yeah.
Mr. Davis.
Yeah, I was really excited about this agenda item. I think every part of it will benefit our students. From Carver students and CCMS students having access to their research class, I think we have rural changers at every single one of our middle schools. So I think them having access to the same opportunities is us putting walking shoes to that word equity that we use a lot. And I think also when it comes to accountability, some of our principals being able to retain some of their more advanced students will help with accountability, which is one of our priorities. So I think this was in alignment with the priorities that we set as a district, and I'm excited to see us again putting walking shoes to what we've been talking about for a while now.
Mr. Patton.
It's my hope that advanced academics, in conjunction with Waco ISD leadership, um, develop more robust programs for their, um, not only their GT, but their high achieving kids through both acceleration and through accommodations for compacting curriculum opportunities. I spoke with Dr. Spicer yesterday, maybe. I do want to see a research class added to Lake Air Montessori. I know we've been talking about Carver and um, Cesar Chavez. I don't want to forget our Lake Air Montessori Magnet School into that as well. I think research, teaching all kids learning how to research and know how to be able to distinguish bad sites from good sites. Uh, Probably our kids could probably teach us that right now better than maybe we can teach them. But I think this is a great step forward with my expectation uh, that these services for advanced students become more robust in nature. Thanks.
Mr. Ochoa?
I just have a quick question. So currently, we're doing GT at the campuses we're talking about now anyway, right? So really, it's just that research class that's missing that we're going to be adding.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. No, I'm excited then that I think we do have a lot of parents who might be zoned for those campuses who are at Tennyson, and now we can present that as, the same things are being offered at this campus closer to your house. And I think a lot of parents may like that opportunity to take advantage of it.
One more thing. And sorry, guys. Everybody starts laughing. In this, especially this year with legislature and vouchers, it's more important than ever that Waco ISD offer expanded choice to our families. We want families to choose Waco ISD for the programs and the services that we provide. And knowing that choice, parents have more choice now than they've ever had, we must be competitive in serving the families' needs in our community. Thanks.
I just want to echo that. I definitely think we just spent $350 million to bring equity to our secondary campuses. So no matter what zip code or what side of town your student lives in, they'll be able to go to a state-of-the-art facility. And we're bringing a state-of-the-art GT program to their neighborhood school. This is real equity, and I hope that our families take advantage of it. And I think that this is a win across the board for our district and our families.
Thank you. We're moving on to item 12, review, discuss, and take appropriate action on appointment process to fill vacancy of district at-large trustee presented by Elizabeth Cox.
That's right. That's right. I didn't hear that. Sir. Good evening, Dr. Spicer, President Vidania, trustees. Picking up where we left off at our special called meeting on February 5th, where the board officially accepted the resignation of Trustee Guillory. I'm before you again tonight to help facilitate discussion and review of an appointment timeline. During that February 5th meeting, the majority of the board expressed a desire to move forward with filling the vacancy by appointment. And consistent with prior board practice, our staff has recommended an appointment process that begins with a public call for letters of intent and resumes from qualified community members. And should we move forward in this way, that call for letters will go out tomorrow and be out in the community, and we'll start pushing it out the same way we have before. Additionally, we're here tonight because a trustee has requested that we have some additional discussion about the consideration of impossible action of whether the full appointment process, including interviews of those candidates and deliberation, should be conducted publicly in its entirety. I want to reiterate that tonight we don't need you to approve the timeline. We need to hear from you in the timeline laid out in the memo that starts tomorrow with us putting out a call for letters and proceeds through March and then April to the first full meeting for the new appointee. If you have any concerns, you need to let us know because we will start scheduling those special called meetings and getting those on your schedules and getting the rooms reserved and things like that, unless you have any concerns. I'm seeing none. So we're going to move forward that those are our dates. And then now it's up for you all to have your discussion.
Mr. Davis?
Yeah, I requested the agenda item for the process to be public. I think the board had two options. Well, we had enough time. We had already paid for the election to put this at-large seat on the ballot for the public to decide. Majority of the board decided for us to go through an appointment process. And I think just to be open and transparent and to lead with transparency, we should do that publicly. So that means conducting the interviews publicly, that means deliberations publicly, and of course, we already have to make the decision publicly. So I think that this just brings another layer of transparency and openness to our community. So that's why I requested that.
I've got a question for Trustee Davis. Um, So my only concern with that would be if we get 8 different applications, um, unless we interview them all at the same time, if it's all publicly done, what's to stop the 8th applicant from sitting in the room and hearing the questions we're going to ask the first applicant? I mean, in my opinion, that would benefit the person who goes last.
One, since I've been on the board and since you've been on the board as well, we've done all the interviews the same day. They're normally right after one another. Everyone's in the building and then they just come down one after another one. So if we are doing it publicly, I think we just continue doing it that way. If you're one of the applicants, you go upstairs and then when it's your time, you're escorted down to be interviewed just like we did it, I think at Manusi, and I think when Emily Izzetti was appointed to the board as well, that's what happened. All of the applicants were here in the building, and they were escorted down one by one when it was their time. So they wouldn't be able to have the questions in advance unless they have someone texting them. And I think that's nothing that we can stop from happening. And hopefully anyone that is applying to be an at-large school board member will have enough integrity to prepare in advance and not, cheat their way to the appointment process.
Yes, Mr. Bledsoe.
Are we wanting the discussion and the voting to be public? Like, I know we ultimately have to come down, I know we have to come down and appoint someone, but are we wanting the public and potential candidates to see other
Yeah,
trustees?
whatever. I want everything that we're gonna do as part of this process to be public. So we have to have discussions about this, the applicants either way, and I think it will add a layer of trust and accountability to the board if we were willing to have those conversations publicly. I'm willing to have that conversation publicly. If I'm gonna be a vote that's gonna place an at-large member on our school board, I think I should at least be accountable enough to discuss and ask questions openly and have the community understand how I felt when I voted to add someone to the board.
Well, I don't disagree with that, but I mean, I think that saying that it creates a level of trust implies that how we go about doing this process is untrustworthy.
If I'm not implying it, I'm saying that I've heard during the last several times that we've appointed that people have a lack of trust in appointment processes. And I mentioned that when we decided to do the appointment process. So I think this way, the board has already decided to do the appointment. We do it publicly. This is us being transparent. People can hear our discussion. People can hear what questions were asked. They can hear the answers and they can feel a part of a process that we chose to handle versus giving it to the community, which was in our right to choose to do the appointment. I'm just saying, since we made that decision, now let's push information back to the community about what decision we're making on their behalf.
Elizabeth, how long did we allow per interview? Do you remember?
I think we did about 45 minutes.
30 to, I think it was 30 to 45 minutes within time afterwards. I'm looking at Miss Renee because she was the one actually scheduling all those.
Yeah, I want to say it's 45 minutes and we gave transition time in between.
And discussion.
So if we had 4 applicants, right, we're potentially asking them to sit in a room for several hours.
Also, I don't see how you could do an open meeting in public, as Trustee Davis is saying, and say that Courtney is interviewing and Carmen's interviewing and say they can't be in an open meeting room one at a time what's to keep them from sitting in? To me, if it's an open meeting, then anyone is available and allowed to sit in during that meeting.
Well, then let's
including-
just send the
excuse me,
questions in advance.
Excuse me, sir. Including the people who are being interviewed and the people who are waiting to be interviewed. They could all be in that room because it is an open meeting. So my pushback to that is not to give any applicant undue opportunity to learn our questions or know our questioning strategies or the things that we're pushing for. I don't think an open meeting is the appropriate platform for that because we will come back out and name the applicant, and the discussion will go from each person on this board, where if I have something that I want to say and this is not my choice of an applicant, but the other folks on the board chose that, that's my opportunity to express my opinion. But to keep it fair, I don't see how you can deny someone the opportunity to be present at an open meeting.
The law says that we have to ask the exact same questions, right? In the exact same way. That's how it was explained to us during the last appointment. The exact same people had to ask the exact same questions for every applicant.
I believe that is what our legal counsel has
Okay,
recommended.
so
Just to keep, the board's legal counsel, I should
Cool.
say, has recommended to keep the integrity of the process for you.
So the legal advice for the integrity of the process is to ask the same questions the same way by the same people. I don't see why we wouldn't be able to just send the questions in advance to those that are applying. I don't think that any one of us are choosing questions to have a gotcha moment when they come in, but to learn more about these people and be more informed when we make a decision on who's best prepared to fill this vacancy. So I think it should be no problem for us to publish the questions or to give the questions to the applicants once they apply for the appointment. Because again, I don't think any of us are trying to have a gotcha moment in the interview. So you can know the questions in advance and come prepared to answer them.
Well, what do we need to vote? What do we need to vote on right now?
So I was just
What-
going to say, I think maybe we discuss this more. Right now, we're just looking for a vote.
Can we just,
But I am curious, is there a, Trustee Davis, is there a part of our, or how do I say this? With our last appointment process, what part of the process did you find concerning?
Yeah, I don't mind laying it out. So let's talk about it. So the first time I was a part of an appointment process, there were a majority of applicants that were never interviewed because people on the board felt like that they weren't qualified enough. So we never looked at their resume.
Is that anyone
We
on this
never
board?
got, it was people that are sitting here right now. Then in our second appointment process, the decision that was made, I think with Izzetti, it was based upon her affiliation with one organization in our community. So we didn't weigh anything else. We said the affiliation with one organization put that applicant above everyone else. That's why. So these the concerns that I bring up are legitimate. I'm in my second term on the board. We've been through a couple appointment processes, and I feel like the community has spoke out about our handling of these appointment processes several times, loudly, formally in emails and at HEB when I'm trying to get milk. So I think that if we're going to choose to do an appointment again, at least we could do is to bring maximum transparency. It's not saying that anyone on the board has malicious intent, but what this does is take away any semblance of malicious intent because the entire process was public. So the interviews, you can hear what questions we asked, you can hear the answers, you can hear our group discussion, which you wouldn't be able to hear if we do it in closed session, because we would discuss it in closed session and then just come down here to officially vote. But in what I'm proposing, you would actually hear our thoughts and our deliberation on how we came to the decision that we would just tell you when we came out of closed session otherwise.
Mr. President, what do we need to vote on?
As I understand it, what Trustee Davis is requesting a vote on is that whether or not the entire process be conducted in open session or in the previous ways that the board most recently has utilized, both closed session for interview and deliberation, and then still always coming back out to vote or not. So really, it's all open, or the previous, just after the Mr. like Mr. Abnusi's time.
And I just want to say that
Combination.
everyone who applies, you won't be applying in secret. It will be subject to the Open Meetings Act or public information
Yes,
request.
sir.
Carl Hoover's here. As soon as you apply, he's
knows.
going to grab that information and the public will know. And you're also applying to be an at-large school member on the Waco ISD School Board. So I would hope anyone who's applying, you're willing to come answer questions in a public forum. Every single one of us, maybe except Abnusi, we all went to public forums, because I know you did, because I seen you there and I heard you answer questions. So I think that that's a minimum requirement for anyone who wants to hold the important honor of being a trustee on our board.
Trustee Davis, would you like to make a motion?
I make a motion that let me get the right.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Go ahead.
Mr. Abnusi, is there any, I mean, you probably the most recent one who sat through this process, was there anything, the questions for you, was there anything that you found concerning, I guess, or anything that we could have improved upon on the?
Absolutely. I made my point clear last time we talked about that. As a beneficiary of an appointment, I saw the process. I was never contacted by anyone. I applied on my own, at my own will, and I feel blessed, lucky, fortunate to be here. I didn't see any sign of me being somehow favored over somebody else. No, and so yes, I didn't see that. I thought the process was handled with complete integrity, sir.
And
Mr. Abnusi, for the record, also was appointed to the board through the process. So I think it's a little different when you come out on top in the appointment process. You might not see the flaws in the process. And I'm not saying anything was done maliciously when you were appointed to the board. I'm just saying I don't understand what the pushback is on us pushing information out to the public. Why can't we? We keep giving reasons on why I need to articulate for us to do it publicly. Can you articulate to me what is our hesitation with doing it publicly?
I have a
we
litany
address-
of concerns.
Okay, well, let's address them. That's what this discussion item is for.
I mean, if we want to, or we can just vote.
Yeah, or we could discuss, because this is
We can argue
important.
publicly, or we can just, I would prefer to vote.
I would like to make a point.
Yeah.
I only sat in on the last appointment, and which was Abnusi, and to my understanding, Chief Cox, everyone who applied received an interview. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So that is my expectation, whether we do it at HEB getting milk, whether we do it down here, whether we do it up on the 10th floor. My expectation is everyone who applies will go through an interview process.
The timeline that we've laid out does list 2 days right now, anticipating that it being an at-large position, that we hopefully do have that much interest in.
If everything
volunteer service.
if we're all okay with doing the things how it's supposed to be done, if there is no even semblance of anything that's happening behind the scenes, then I don't understand why we can't do it publicly.
Because
I'm still not understanding, and I'm going to let you. I'll stop talking after this, but I just don't understand the hesitation to why we wouldn't do it publicly. We said it was because an advantage of the questions. We can give the questions out in advance, so no one has an advantage. Everyone has an equal playing field. If you're applying for an at-large position, your information will be public anyway. So the sense of privacy doesn't apply in this situation. So I'm still not. Maybe it's my lack of understanding from what y'all are saying, but I'm not seeing the issue with doing it publicly. Again, I'm not saying that anyone has the intentions to do anything wrong. I'm just saying this would put it out in the community so they know we're handling it the right way.
And I don't think it's a lack of understanding on your part at all. I really, truly don't. It's just a matter of points of view, I guess. Where you feel it's okay to give an applicant the questions we're going to ask, I feel like you shouldn't. I just feel like you're going to get, I think it works to people's advantage if they know what the questions are. I think you can coach yourself up.
I think if you're interview number 8, let's say we had 8, we used 8 earlier. If we had 8 applicants, I think hearing 7 other people articulate an answer, even if you have the questions in advance, I think if you hear 7 other people articulate an answer before you, that gives you an advantage.
If this was a speech competition, I would agree. I don't think it's who can come in here and give us the best speech and articulate it well. We have criteria that we're looking at to appoint a trustee. So I think that you might be able to listen to other people and maybe you tweaked your sentences a little bit as you were waiting. But I don't think that that will add substance to your resume. I don't think that will add volunteer hours to your work in the district. I don't think that that will make you an involved parent. So the criteria that we would be looking at as who should we appoint, I don't think the quality of their speech will make a difference.
I have concerns about the discussion being public, the voting that happens in the room being public. I have concerns about relational dynamics on the board post somebody being appointed and knowing perhaps that they weren't another trustee's first choice. I think that could cause some relational strife that I don't think is necessary. I just I just don't subscribe. I think everybody on this board is of high integrity. Like I believe that. And so I mean you can laugh.
I laughed because not because I didn't think everyone was of high integrity. I just because we're of high integrity, we have nothing to hide. So let's do it publicly. That's my point here. I believe, and also, you have no choice but to vote in public. It's illegal for us to vote anywhere else but in front of you guys on the camera. So the voting, irregardless, public comment. Jose will go down and ask each and every one of us, do we have any discussion? And so that part will happen in public, irregardless. As far as you saying the relationship to someone we appoint, that happens every single one of us has went through that. We've all had opponents that have ran against us. And matter of fact, we even came together as a board and said we were no longer endorsing because it makes it harder once if your candidate didn't get on the board. But that's something as mature adults who are serving as public officials that you should be able to navigate. So you might not have been my first choice. People here might not have been my first choice, but I was able to be mature enough as an adult to work with you because it's not about if I like you as a friend. It's about working together for our students.
I think we should vote.
Yes, Mr. Davis, you want to read the motion?
Okay, what am I reading exactly? Okay, I make a motion that the board will have the opportunity to vote on the appointment, that the board will conduct completely an open session or closed session will utilize, or no, I move that the board will conduct the appointment process completely in open session, including interviews and discussion and the final vote.
All in favor? Oh, sorry, I need a second.
I guess I'll second.
Second by Mr. Bledsoe.
Can we get a roll call vote too on this one?
No.
No.
Yes.
They don't matter to me, but I'm gonna just say yes.
No.
No.
Thank you. It's goes down to 2-4. So we're moving on to item 13,
Elizabeth is staying
also
here.
presented by Elizabeth Cox.
Elizabeth Cox is staying here.
Chief Cox, can I say something really
Yes, sir.
quick?
Thank you.
I want to say this because it's Black History Month, and I know we're about to get out of here. Tonight, as we recognize Black History Month, I wanted to acknowledge something that's both humbling and historic. Since the founding of Waco ISD, there have only been 11 African-American school board trustees, including myself. 11. That number reminds us that representation has not always been guaranteed. Every one of these trustees carried more than just a title, they carried responsibility. They carried expectations, and in many cases, they carried the weight of being the only one in the room. Tonight, I want to honor those who have served before and alongside myself, including Mr. Robert Gilbert, Dr. Emma Louise Harrison, Reverend John L. Mashak, Mr. Billy Barrett, Mrs. Coquee Gibson, Mrs. Juanika Muhammad, Mr. Alex Williams, Mr. Sammy Smith, Mr. Norman Manning, Mr. Keith Guillory, and myself, Jeremy Davis. These trustees have showed up, they've governed, they've advocated for students, and they've helped move this district forward. Because of their service, doors opened wider. Black History Month is not just about celebration, it's about truth, progress, and responsibility. When students see leadership that reflects the richness of our community, it expands what they believe is possible. I am proud to serve, I am grateful for those who came before me, and I'm committed to ensuring that those who come after us inherit a stronger district than the one we found. That is how we honor history, not just with our words, but with work. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Davis. I feel like that deserves one of Dr. Spicer's. I appreciate every year how you do that. Each year it gets more and more meaningful, so thank you for sharing. Transitioning a little bit, I feel like I must also share a moment with everyone tonight to start off announcements that we need to acknowledge an unofficial holiday here in Waco ISD. Today is also Lisa Saxenian's birthday. So if you have not yet, please go ahead and send her that text. Send her a shout out. She said she wanted to be here, but y'all know her social calendar, and it is her birthday. So please go ahead and embarrass her a little bit and tell her happy birthday from all of us. I know that is the plan, sir. Yeah, tomorrow night, moving on, tomorrow night, Waco IC has two great opportunities to show up and support both our students and staff. As mentioned earlier, the annual Waco ISD Education Foundation HEB Celebrity Cook-Off takes over the base at Extraco Event Center from 7 to 10. I haven't heard a lot of wagers about competitiveness. I know Dr. Spicer is planning to win with our friends from Sodexo. I know that Mr. Vidania is going to be helping at the HLN booth, but he's not throwing in bets about winning. Mr. Ochoa?
My money's on Dr. Spicer this year, especially since Waco ISD School Board will not have their own table.
I thought it was awfully quiet about it, so thank you, sir. I now know why.
I'm gonna let her forget that photo bomb.
Yes, okay. We're excited, and we know that we'll have both UHS and Waco High Culinary, so I'm really excited to see the red and purple together.
Chief Cox?
Yes, sir.
Elizabeth? It's so much easier to say Elizabeth.
Yes, just
the funds for Celebrity Cook-Off goes to Waco Education Foundation, which I'm happy to have been on this board for several years. The money raised goes back to teacher grants for innovation and creativity. We've got a slew of grants right now that are in the process. But this fundraiser absolutely helps Education Foundation give back to classroom teachers, which is really cool.
I love that you're bringing all of the value, because really it's just a really great time. So if you know anybody,
it's a lot of fun too, but it is a lot of work.
Needs to come out and support Waco IC and might have a little bit of extra cash burning a hole in their wallet if they didn't have a special Valentine or anything like that. There's going to be great raffle prizes, great way to support, and we hope to see you out there. Great gathering of the community. But if that's not your style, if food is not your thing, we also have a really exciting basketball opportunity. Waco IC fans, please make the trip to Corsicana High School to cheer on the UHS Trojans in their second round basketball playoff match versus South Oak Cliff tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Mr. Vidania, who I go to for all high school sports, is saying that it's looking good for us. I'm hoping that there will be a third round playoff game. I don't know what Coach Williams thinks our chances are. Yeah, that's the plan. So,
and last year we played South Oak Cliff and we spanked them. That was so much fun.
On the mic.
It was a great game.
So hopefully that happens again. Go Trojans. This Saturday, there are fun family events being hosted at both high schools. I want to make sure you're aware of it. Waco High School, Sodexo will be hosting their Future Chef event. Displays and samples of food will be ready right at lunchtime, 12:30. So please come out to Waco High School for Future Chefs. They're at University High School from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Literacy will be celebrated with Comic Fest and Syntax Teen Book Fest joining forces. Prizes, food, cosplay panels, and crafts going on again at UHS from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Next Friday, March 6th, is a student holiday staff development day, sending us off into spring break from March 9th to the 13th. The following Thursday, it comes around really quick, we'll be back here again for March 19th, our regular board meeting. Okay,
Chief,
yes,
I don't know, March 4th,
March 4th.
the basketball, is it the basketball, with
Oh,
Settles?
so I did see Mrs.
Oh,
Settles
we
here.
canceled? Okay, it got canceled. Okay.
We are rescheduling. We don't yet have a change. No.
Oh, rescheduled, okay,
Yep.
okay, I didn't.
We will be rescheduling our unified basketball game,
Okay.
looking at a time in May, making sure that all of our athletes and our teams have more time to practice together and really end the year strong with one of our favorite events of the year. So thank you for bringing it up.
Okay,
But yeah,
thank you.
we're looking for a rescheduled date, and we'll get that to you as soon as possible.
And this is still an open call for that intergovernmental Waco SD School Board versus Waco City Council basketball or dodgeball tournament.
I will pass along that call.
Or kickball.
Kickball,
We talked about kickball.
I
and we
think
talked about
dodgeball might, I don't know if dodgeball's still allowed anymore.
Chief Goodman is our ringer for pickleball.
All right, this meeting is adjourned. We'll
Thank you.
take a quick 10-minute break.
Take a break and then come back and start.